All right, what's up guys? Welcome in this new vlog. What a week on the market so far. It has been crazy all over the place. So in this vlog, I will share it with you guys some things that I think are interesting to talk about. So the flash crash, what's going on in the US stock market, US oil, some of my trades. So just to update you guys, on my trading, what I've been doing, how am I managing my account and things like that. I'll try to share as much as possible with you guys to bring you as much value as possible, as always. Alright, so before I start, as always guys, please leave a like under this video. I would truly appreciate it if you want me to make more of that type of videos. So initially, I started the vlog with, filming myself like this, but this time I was like, fuck this part. Let's just get into the charts right away because there's a lot to talk about and I will try to keep this video as value packed as possible. So yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, at the beginning of the week on Sunday night, that was really one of the craziest part of the week. A lot of things happened. So we had a flash crash on some of the currency, such as the AUD. Right, so we had this, and as you guys can see, well, it's coming back down pretty strong actually right now. We're back at these low, but we had a flash crash. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, and I don't even know if I actually posted this trade on YouTube, but I had a buy from this level on AUD USD. So I've got, some of my students who knew that I was in this trade, so they were like, oh, Anthony, what did you do? Did you get caught up in the flash crash and things like that? No, I did not. I was able to get out of this trade at break even right over here. So that was a pretty good decision overall, as you guys can see, because well, I would be in a pretty big loss right now. We did not know that this flash crash would happen. I mean, we never really can forecast a flash crash, but as you guys can see, this is what happened and this is what we got on the market. So that is the first thing that really shocked the market. So AUD did a flash crash, then we had the NZD as well, right? So we can see it here or we can see it here as well. And then as you guys can see, it rallied back up, even going higher than where we were before, but now it's going back down, as you guys can see. So, at this point, we will need to wait and see what we get from these markets and how the patterns evolve. But at this point, this is basically the outlook. So we had a flash crash on Sunday. It went back up past the beginning level, and then it is coming back down, as you guys can see. Then we had, a lot of big moves on actually pretty much all the currencies. The CAD did create a big gap, as you guys can see, and continue going up. We can really see how big this move is actually on the daily. If we compare to what we got before, this is a lot more strong. The yen did the same thing, right? Really strong move to the downside, as you guys can see. Now it is going back up. Oh wow, it's actually nicely going back up right now. That was a setup that I was looking at this morning. And yeah, as you guys can see, it's actually going up pretty strongly right now. So there might be some opportunities that will come eventually on this one. I know that some of my students even cut this trade. So I mean, that is really good. After that, what can I show you guys? Well, the flash crash was basically on this currency for the most part. Then of course we had the US oil, right? That did open in a huge gap. As you guys can see, that is crazy. I don't know if you guys realize this. We were at 31 before the close, and we opened basically at 30 and we went as low as 27. So I mean, that is completely insane what is going on with US oil right now. At the beginning of the year, we were at 65 and now we are at 30, right? So it basically, cut half the price on oil in 2 months, 2-3 months, right? So I mean, that is pretty insanity. We're back nearly at this low, which was in 2016, and that is a important level, which is why I'm watching this carefully. Then of course we had the US stock market, which also did drop massively, especially today. At the time of this recording, we are down 7.4% for the day. It even went as low as 9% in one single trading day, and that is pretty insane, as you guys can see, right? So overall, since the beginning of the crash, we went down as low at 26%, 26.5. So I mean, that those moves are insane. Like it's really volatile. A lot of things are moving very fast. And yeah, so about this crash, right? About the US stock market crash. So I posted this on Instagram, but I also wanted to share this with you guys on YouTube. I don't want to sound like a genius, but I did predict this crash. I knew that it was going to happen. Now, how can I prove this, right? Because it's easy for a trader to say, oh yeah, I knew it was going to happen, right? So do I have some proof to back that up? Well, yes, I do. Last summer, I did a webinar with the Reversal Master team. So Reversal Master, my trading course, most of you guys know already about the course. So I did a video about my students, a webinar. And in this webinar, I was basically explaining why in the next year or so, we would most likely get at least a nice down move, maybe a recession, maybe a crash, depending on how, aggressive the move is, that a recession is likely going to come eventually, right? Whether it's in few days or few weeks or few months or maybe even few years, eventually it will happen, okay? So, it's not a question of whether it's going to happen or not, it's a question of when it will happen, right? As I said before at the beginning, the economy moves in terms of cycle, and it's just very common sense. It's normal, right? Like nothing can always go up. Nothing can always just grow and grow and grow forever. You need to have those periods where the market go up and down, you understand? So it's really important to get that. And so the recession or the crash, right, one of these two, will come eventually, whether it's, as I said, very soon or a little later, maybe next year. But that was the first thing that I actually put out publicly. So I did, of course, my own analysis. I have a lot of, reasons to think that it was going to happen. A lot of things that you guys don't see on the chart, just so you know. So it's not just technical analysis when it comes to that type of move and that type of market. I'm also looking at other things. But I did this webinar with the team to basically explain why we could see a market crash eventually. After that, in October, and you can go back on my channel and you will see it is there. In October, I made a video talking about the next crash, that it would happen very soon and how to be prepared for it. It's a 12-minute long video where I basically explain my thoughts on this upcoming crash. How can you prepare yourself for it and what can you look for? I broke down every single thing in this video. It was in October, before that this whole thing was starting, right? Like if we look at October was right around here, right? And then I remember this because it was really funny to me. This is when I made the video, and a lot of people after the video told me, oh no, Anthony, you're so wrong. Look at this, right? It's going up, woohoo, right? Another great year for the US stock market. A lot of people were laughing at my analysis and my forecast because they thought I was so wrong, right? But look at what we're getting right now. Right? And if you listen closely in the video and in what I said in the next few months, or maybe even a little further than this, as I was talking about in the first webinar. So, I was not forecasting a downside for the next few days or few weeks, but on the medium term, I was expecting this downside. And there we go. After that, in November, right? So just, very not long after the video that I posted on YouTube, the college that I went to, so I studied in college for 2 years, as you guys know. I studied economics and psychology as well, politics, so few topics, but I did study in college for 2 years. They invited me back to make a conference with their students in psychology, and no, not in psychology, in philosophy, sorry. And in this conference, basically the whole event, right, like the whole conference, the goal of the whole thing was to explain why in the next few months we would get most likely a market crash.
Comme vous voyez, ici, on l'a brisé un peu et on a eu un très gros retournement. Okay? Donc ça, c'est la première chose. Même chose qui est arrivée avec celui-ci. Donc on a brisé ce niveau-là, un petit peu, retournement. Briser ce niveau-là, un petit peu, retournement. Briser ce niveau-là, et là, on est en haut en ce moment. Donc là, récemment, dans les derniers jours, on a brisé encore une fois vers les plus hauts niveaux. Donc maintenant, la question, ça va juste être à se demander lequel de ces plus hauts niveaux-là va être le crash. Ok, donc ça c'est la question du moment. Il y a des façons évidemment qu'on peut, si vous voulez, prédire ça.
And I even had some of my students who were there at the event. I had invited some people who just came with me, to participate in the event, people who are in Quebec just like I am, and they can also confirm this. So at this event, I was explaining why we would get a market crash very soon. And well, as you guys can see, we did get this market crash, and even last weekend, I did a webinar with the Reversal Master team. So just to put you guys in context, where we were last weekend, well, we were around here basically. And what I was explaining during this webinar, so it was only a few days ago, right? What I was explaining in this webinar is that the momentum of the market could keep going very strong, just like it has been going for the beginning of the move. And look at what we are getting this week. Most of the time when there is a market crash, this is when, you know, the central banks will start to cut the rate in order to try to stimulate the economy and slow down the crash. So that's kind of the general idea. Now, this time the situation is different, right? Because there is not room to play with, right? Like, I mean, the rates are already low, and so that basically is one option that they have less to be able to you know, do changes when something bad happens. So that's actually a very concerning situation, and that is one of the main reasons that people are really worrying right now about what could happen in the market, and you know, if we could continue and potentially get a market crash, right? So I mean, I think it could keep going that way, right? It's not impossible. As I said, markets are already expecting that the Fed will cut more in 2 weeks, and it could just keep going like this. You know? So guys, I don't want to sound like a genius, right? I'm really not trying to sound like a guru or anything like that, right? But I did predict these moves. I knew that it was going to happen. It was just a matter of time because there were very important points that we could look at into the charts and into the economy and what was happening in the overall markets that were telling us that it would go down. I'm covering all of this in the course, so I'll not, you know, go into this right now. It will take too long to explain everything, but like, I'm really not, you know, trying to sound like a genius, but that's just the reality, you know, like there's nothing fancy, there's nothing crazy. It's just that when you have the right knowledge, when you know how these markets move and when you understand what you're looking at, it gets pretty easy to forecast the market quite accurately because the markets are just repeating themselves, right? It's always the same thing, you know, the psychology, the patterns, the way that it moves, the momentum, like it's always the same thing. So you just need to learn it once and then you can use this knowledge in any given situation and be profitable with this. So guys, like the reason why I'm sharing this with you right now is because I see, you know, and that's what I also said on Instagram, I see a trend recently with a lot of new beginner traders who try to, you know, act like a genius, right? Who will make 30 pips on one trade and then they will go all over the place and, you know, share their huge win and how great they are and how amazing everything is and blah, 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 right? I see this trend recently. I don't know why, but I feel like it's getting worse and worse. A lot of these guys are trying to sound better than they actually are. And I just want to share that type of things with you guys just to really, you know, maybe put things in context, right? And really give you guys a better idea of the overall industry and what you may hear on the internet, because it's really important, you know, to have a critical mind when it comes to what you see online. So, you know, forecasting a 30 pips move is not the same thing as forecasting a market crash in advance, right? It's two different games. So yeah, that's really just what I wanted to clear here. Now, if we look at where we are on the market, we are back at a very, 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 very important trend. I mean, I don't think I need to really explain. You guys can see this trend that is really, really important. We did, you know, break very slightly here, but now the market is kind of holding around this level. So this will be a place on the chart where we will need to wait and see what we get from it. Are we going to hold the trend and go back up either for, well, most likely a correction, or are we actually going to break the trend and just continue lower on this momentum? So at this point, you know, the best thing to do is probably just to wait, because that is a very important level. That is what I always do, you know, when we get to an important level. It's never a good idea to try to rush everything. The best thing to do is always just to wait, be patient, and see how the markets develop from this. So yeah, after that, is there another thing that we could look at? Well, gold is going down pretty strongly actually today. Right, as you guys can see, we got a pretty nice move on gold. That was also what I had forecasted when we broke this level. I did cover this in the last weekly review. So for those of you guys who are in Reversal Master, you probably remember this. But when we broke around this level, I said that we could likely go back down either for a pattern here or for a bigger correction. And there we go, right? And then we also have the cryptocurrency that are going down pretty nicely. I also did forecast that in the weekly review. During the weekly review, we were around here, and I said that if we were to break these levels here, we could most likely keep going down and head for the downside. And look at what we're getting right now. Same thing for Ripple, it made a new low. So yeah guys, once again, I'm not trying to sound like a genius. I'm not trying to, you know, appear like a guru or that I know it all or whatever. But, you know, it just goes to show that when you have the right knowledge and when you really understand what you're doing, you can really get amazing results, you know. And a lot of people, you know, it's funny, like a lot of people always ask me, you know, what's the secret to be profitable? How can you be so consistent? Well, you guys can see it, right? Like, I mean, pretty much like any market move can be forecasted, but do you have the skill level to actually forecast these moves? That's the real question, right? And then when these move happens, do you know how to trade them? Are you going to be ready? Are you able to manage your risk, your emotions, and all of these things? So it's really just about understanding at a deep level what you are doing, and this is definitely helpful and can really change everything for you. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this short video where I just wanted to basically recap what we got on the market and also share some of my thoughts with you guys. As I said, for me this week, I'm taking this, you know, very slow and just waiting to see how this whole situation develops. As I said, on the S&P, we are at a pretty important level, and it's the same thing for a lot of pairs. But I'm watching, you know, some setups pretty carefully. I think that we will get nice opportunities in the next few days. Well, maybe tomorrow since it's Friday, or not next week, right? So I think that we will get nice opportunities eventually. And that is the reason why I'm keeping a close eye on the market. But for now, we will need to be patient and let enough time for it to develop, right? That's another thing that a lot of people are missing. They are way too, you know, hungry, right? They want to see everything unfold very soon. But in those situations, since there's so much uncertainty, there's so much going on, that you need to really be patient, wait and see what happens, and only trade from a rational perspective, right? So, yeah, I think I pretty much covered everything in this video. As I said, I don't want to keep this too long. I just wanted to kind of give you guys an overall view of the markets, what I'm thinking right now, and what we are looking at right now, and how can these, you know, things evolve in the future. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you can leave a like under it. I would truly appreciate it. You can share this around as well. And yeah, so on that, take care, trade with care, manage your money well, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.